Welcome in, St0ner Sports Radio Podcast. Another wonderful weekend is upon us. We'll give you all the latest on NBA playoff action, NFL draft recap. We've got some free agent talk. We've got some college football talk. We've got everything. When it comes to what you need, yeah, except for golf. Yeah, don't even think about that. Episode 62 here. Zach with me as usual. Zach, how are we doing on this Be Happy Friday?
We're super happy. Thunder probably going into the playoffs with 7 days. I think 7 days of rest. OU just had some great recruitment. It's a good week.
Yeah, it is a good week here. Technically, this is episode 63, but did have NFL draft stuff that we covered on Thursday live on the Twitch. So if you're ever wondering where we're at, if we're not doing this, you're not seeing us on the YouTube, we're on the Twitch at twitch.tv/ST0NERGAMER. Look, let's get into NBA first. I think that's kind of the most important thing to go over here, considering circumstances and whatnot. Let's take a look at the Western Conference here. We'll start off with the hometown favorite. The Pelicans get swept by the Thunder 4-0. Kind of give me like your takeaways here, Zach, from this first series from the Thunder. I know the Pelicans are without Zion Williamson. That had a huge factor, just kind of thrown into the Thunder's side of the court here. I think it was very obvious that his presence on the floor would have changed some things, but as things are and as they have developed and as they exist, go ahead and give me your analysis of this first round victory.
Well, I do think Zion would have changed the series a lot, and by that I mean the Thunder probably went in 5 instead of 4. The defense was so good by both teams the whole series. This is the first time that a team has held their opponent to under 100 points for 4 games in a row in the playoffs. The Thunder are the first team to do that, and I don't remember how many years, but pretty long time, pretty much since modern offenses were developed. So that was nice to see that we have some real physical basketball, kind of coming back. And, really the series was a lot closer than people give it credit for. The Thunder went on a lot of runs, usually around the third quarter. But the Pelicans played great defense. It's not, it sucks that Zion was out because he probably would have been their number one option on offense with Brandon Ingram kind of getting locked down by Lou the entire series. But you look at like Herb Jones, he was kind of locking Shea up a little bit. I mean, not really locking him up, but he averaged 27 instead of 31, which is actually better than he had averaged in the regular season against the Pelicans. He averaged 25 in the regular season against the Pelicans, then he averaged 27 in the playoffs. So playoff riser, just so everybody's aware. But yeah, I thought it was a great series. Valanciunas kind of showed out a little bit. I think that's gonna be interesting to look at for the next round when we have to play against some bigger guys too. Obviously, Chet has a tough time with builds like Valanciunas, and I think he's gonna have a tough time if we have to play Zubac in particular. Gafford has been known to eat Chet alive on occasion, so I'm a little worried from both ends there. But overall, great defense. I'm really happy with the way the Thunder played, and they're looking good.
Yeah,
I think they're the favorites now in the West for a lot of betting sites.
Yeah, I I think that you're looking at a Thunder team that's definitely in a position to make a run, considering what they did to the Pelicans. I think they looked really good. But like you said, I think Zion definitely would have extended this series. I think it would have been a little bit more than one game. I think it would have probably gone 6, considering how close these games were without him on the floor. I think that his point differential kind of would have put a little bit more pressure, I think, on the Thunder offensively, which, may have changed things, may not have. I mean, but you have to think about how poor some of these games, shooting wise, got off for both teams as well. Very low scoring opening quarters, very bad shooting, as far as from the field in general. And I think that was also because the Pelicans defensively are not bad either. I think that's something that kind of gets overshadowed because of Oklahoma City's fantastic D they play. And I think we forget that Willie Green and his team, top 10 defense in the NBA. So they
Yeah.
can also get underneath you, and I think that had to do with both teams kind of struggling offensively early on in these games. And as they would go on, I think you learn how to sidestep some of the problems, and just in general, the shots just start falling eventually. I mean, gamer percentages here; these are professionals. I mean, they have to have that mindset, or else they would be ruined as humans mentally.
Yeah.
um,
100%.
so I mean, I think that they're in a good position. Let's move to Nuggets Lakers. This game went 5 games. 4-1. Nuggets, get the gentleman's sweep, I guess, as they call it. What was kind of your takeaway from this? I mean, a lot of these games were close as well. A lot of them had some different kind of elements to it, where you'd have nights where a certain guy would show up huge, and then like another night where he would disappear. I'm looking at you, D'Angelo Russell. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like if there was any consistency with the Lakers, I think they would have won more than one game in this series and would have pushed them a little bit further. But I think it says more about just kind of Denver and what we have in front of us, to look at coming out of coming out of the bottom of this bracket. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
impressive.
I mean, the Nuggets looked really, really good. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They look the same way that they've looked all the last 2 years. Um, probably should touch on the fact that the Lakers fired Darvin Ham, and then they proceeded to fire the entire assistant coaching staff just a couple hours later. Um, I don't agree with that decision. And I know that Darvin Ham's been getting a lot of flack, on social media, but I don't know what is going on with the quick firing of coaches in the NBA these days. Um, there's no like patience for coaches to develop a little bit. Darvin Ham coached a team to the Western Conference Finals last year, and then all of a sudden this year they actually play that same team and win a game. Really, you can kind of almost look at that as an improvement considering you had to play the exact same team. Um, I don't know what more they wanted from Darvin Ham. I understand the lack of rotation adjustments. I understand the lack of timeouts being a concern, but I don't know what adjustments he could have made. Um, Less Gabe Vincent minutes, sure. But who you give those to? D'Angelo Russell? No. So it's kind of a tough spot to
You
be
get
in
you
when
get you give him to Hachi. Give him to Hachi.
I think I would agree with that. You probably should give Hockey a little bit more minutes there, but um, I don't. I think Darvin Ham just kind of had. He was right in that interview when he was like, "I don't know what you want me to do when one of my starters is playing like garbage 10 games in a row. Like, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to start Gabe Vincent? Because that's not the right answer. Do you want him to like move LeBron to the point, take D'Lo out, and make him run with the second unit? That's probably not going to work. You have D'Lo eating on the end of the bench. I don't think this is a personnel issue. It's not a coaching issue, in my opinion. You have LeBron obviously still leading the team at 39 years old. Anthony Davis seems to be having some problems. D'Lo is a whole nother situation. What all I know is that LeBron's out of there. If I had to guess, and so is everybody else apparently. I think the Lakers are going to be garbage for the next 10 years.
Whoa. I
I,
mean,
I think they're going to be like the black eye of the league. I'm not even joking right now. Just the mismanagement by Rob Pelinka has caused this team to go from amazing in 2020 to completely breaking up that team and trying to reconstruct it and doing the worst possible job at that I think I've ever seen. And just getting dragged to the playoffs every year by LeBron. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is a front office issue. I think
Hmm.
you miss the buses being more involved, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not. I mean, I think you could be right. The scary thing is you could be 100% right about the next 10 years for the Lakers if that's where this is headed.
Rob
Um,
Pelinka to go.
I
They
mean, yeah,
fired the wrong person.
yeah, they
Like
fired the
that's
wrong
how I
person.
feel
You're right.
about it.
Right.
Um, and then they fired the rest of the coaching staff too, which I don't, I don't know if
Seems a
I
little
can name the
extreme.
assistant
Yeah.
coach. I don't know if I can name one of them, but I don't.
Yeah, but I
That
mean,
feels
yeah,
extreme.
yeah. Is it isn't what's his face? Um, the ex head coach from Memphis, isn't he on that staff, or is he on another staff?
I don't know who you're
David
talking about.
Fizdale on that staff.
Oh, he might be on that staff. I thought he was. Well, he was head coach of the Knicks. I thought he might have been on their assistant staff now, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's on a staff somewhere. I thought it
Yeah.
was. I Let me just look it up. It's gonna bug me. Hold on.
He's fired now.
Yeah, here it is. I didn't even have to type his whole name, and I've been looking at David Fizdale forever. All right. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Where are we at here? Oh, yeah. He was on that bench. He is not anymore. So Fizdale,
Yep.
yeah. So Fizdale, yeah. I wasn't tripping. He gone. he was
Yeah.
he was one
Well,
of those
and
Laker assistants.
I hope the Thunder kind of go and grab
Pick him up.
Fizdale.
Yeah, pick him
Honestly,
up. Yeah, pick him up. You know what to do, Presty. Make the call. Make the
and
call,
if
brother.
honestly, if Darvin Ham doesn't get a head coaching job, pick him up.
Make the call. I mean, I would. I'm not even. Dude. The thing
Not
is
joking.
like
Yeah.
we're not even kidding. Like, I mean, like, legitimately,
These
go
are
get him.
good coaches. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think they're good coaches. You don't have to
I
make them a
mean,
lead assistant. I mean, I
yeah,
personally think
yeah.
that our shooting coach
Think
should be our
about the
lead
youth of
assistant.
this team and the talent, and then those coaches being able to mold around this talent. I mean, you're talking about a dynasty type thing that hasn't been talked about in a long time. If this is going the trajectory we think it's going with the Thunder, I mean, you do
Mhm.
that. I mean, I mean, it's balls on the table because that's an all in kind of move. But I mean,
Well,
like,
he already did that. That's kind of the thing.
yeah,
He started. He hired Mark. He hired Mark Dadnall to be the head coach officially at the same exact time that SGA became the first option.
yeah,
Like he intentionally is doing this so that they
Bond,
stay
yeah,
the whole time, long term.
yeah. I mean,
They
yeah,
got
it makes
they
sense.
got to get the job done. But if the, as soon as they get that ring, I'm expecting a back to back and maybe a three-peat.
Yeah. So wow, see there it is. There, yeah, you heard it here first. But yeah. So, anyways, Fizdale gone. Lakers assistants gone. Lakers gone. Nuggets move on. Timberwolves Suns. This series was more entertaining than a 4-0 sweep. It was really worth. uh, I wanted more games of this. We kind of deserved a little bit more games of this, to be honest.
Yeah,
And Phoenix, dropping the ball. I mean, look, man, I here's what it comes down to. Bradley Beal, where the fuck were you, dog? What? Like, why are they paying you this much money if you can't even score 20 a night? Like, what is
would have been
happening?
better off getting John
Yeah,
Wall.
yeah. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, it's. I mean, like, why didn't they push harder to get Donovan Mitchell? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, they thought. I mean, Bradley Beal's the answer. Like,
Talk
I
about his
upload.
contract.
Say what? What?
Talk about his
Oh
contract.
yeah, and the contract is
They're
ludicrous.
stuck with him. They're stuck paying him that like what
fifty
is it, 50?
million
Yeah, it's
dollars a
like
year.
50 million, no trade
Yeah,
clause.
like oh well, yeah. Get like Phoenix is so like who's
For like
okay,
the next
okay.
like 4 years.
So you think Phoenix is more fucked than the Lakers like in the next 5 years than overall the next 10? Like, or are they both just like doo doo butthole bad for like the next decade?
I, I think the Suns are gonna be consistently mid. They won't be terrible.
Because they're
They will
not
be
going to get rid of
consistently
Booker.
in
That's
that
the
sixth
thing
spot.
is they're never
Yeah,
going to get rid of
Booker's
Booker,
gone.
so they'll be mid. But like
They'll be in
KD is
that sixth spot
KD
the
is
whole time.
fucking gone. Like there's no shot KD is staying. Like Bradley Beal, you're fucking stuck with. So you've got Booker and Beal you're stuck with, and then the rest of them will be, journeymen, slightly above average people that have been on several teams that you're paying, probably overpriced money
Yeah.
to try to get to limp yourself into like the second round of the Western Conference playoffs for the next 10 years.
I mean, they're gonna have to wait until Bradley Bill's contract is up, and then they're gonna have to get somebody.
Yeah.
I would say that because I think Giannis possibly has played his last game as a Buck. Um, I think they could have made a run at Giannis, considering KD's probably gone. But with that Bradley Beal contract, I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can't afford it.
Yeah,
You can't. I mean, you
so
know who can
it's
afford it
tough.
though? The Oklahoma City Thunder. We've got $50 million in cap space. Giannis, come
Yeah,
on down.
who wants it?
Can you imagine Giannis and Chet being down there, down low? I mean, please, for the
That would
love
fit
of
so
God,
much.
give us
That would fit
Giannis.
so much. Oh my God, please.
I mean, like that's a whole nother. I mean, we'll get there in a minute. What did you think though of this series though? 4 games. Timberwolves get it done. Anthony Edwards looks fantastic. I mean, you're
Yeah,
dunking on people. I
that's
mean,
all I think about it. It's just
it's
Anthony Edwards.
yeah, it's just I mean, it was all about that, right? I mean, and Mike Conley showed up
Yeah.
big in some games as well.
Mhm.
You had output from players you needed to. I mean, McDaniels that one game went bananas. You had the first
Agreed.
game where Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin out there that is balling
Yeah.
out, trying to outdo his cousin over here by is sitting out in the corner, chucking some baseline threes and nailing them all, and then not making like any the rest of the series. But the first game, man, he was lighting it up. But the effort's there. I think he's almost as good of a defender as Shea is. I think
Oh, yeah,
that's
he might
I.
be better.
It might. I mean, yeah, he's just offensively not very good. Like it
Pure
needs
defense,
needs
he's
work.
probably better.
I mean, I'd take him. I would take him coming off the bench in a Thunder
Yeah, and you know
uniform.
why? It's because he grew up guarding SGA.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, talk about some practices that would be interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
my goodness. But yeah, I think this series was just kind of more of the ineptitude of Phoenix and their core is weak and stuff like that. And I think it was more the Timberwolves, just Anthony Edwards. It was his time to kind of
Yep.
show us who he is as
We're
a, as a
here.
as a superstar and big test ahead of them against the Nuggets. What do you make of this series between these two teams? Because a lot of people think that this is one of those series that could go 5 or 6 games. Where do you think this is going?
I have Nuggets in 7. Um,
So it
I
goes the
don't
distance.
see I don't see Anthony Edwards losing in less than 7 games at this point. He is on such a roll. I think that the Timberwolves have a great matchup situation with the Nuggets. They're big. They have 2 guys that can that get down low and guard Jokic. Um, I- they have answers to Aaron Gordon. They have answers to MPJ. I have the Nuggets winning it just because I don't think that they can stop Jokic, and I don't think they can stop Jamal Murray. And I think Jamal Murray is probably the X factor in this series because I think the matchup's probably Anthony Edwards on Jamal Murray, if not Nickeil Alexander-Walker on Jamal Murray. He cuts either of them, I think. Playoff Jamal at least.
I mean,
So
so you don't think the calf is going to be an issue at all?
no, not necessarily. I think Jamal Murray is probably going to be the leading scorer this series. Um, I don't see Rudy Gobert allowing Jokic to sit there and get 30, 40, right? Um, although, although Rudy Gobert has been known to not allow double teams on Jokic when he's guarding him, and when that happened, Jokic dropped 47, or that's how the famous quote goes, where Rudy Gobert like waves off the defense and is like, "I don't need him, I don't need you." Then Jokic is like, "Brother, I have 47." Um, I, I don't know. It kind of depends on if Rudy Gobert is allowing Cat to come over and help. If he's allowing other people to come over and help. If he doesn't do that, there are problems. But um, yeah, Nuggets in 7.
I like it. I mean, I think you're kind of right with your analysis of how this is going to play out, like defensively and offensively for both of these teams. I think Jamal Murray probably is the leading scorer for this series, and if Gobert allows help and they really do squash Jokic. From getting 30 to 40, that doesn't mean he's not getting 20, 10, and 10, or 20, 20, and 10. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
still, he's still gonna cook you in some way, shape, or form, but you would much rather it be on 10 assists to guys that are hitting one shot apiece than him just gobbling up massive amounts of points in the paint. I mean, I just, like you said, I think there's just not enough firepower offensively from the Timberwolves as well. I think they have 2 really good options, and after that, it's like Mike Conley and like who else? I mean, Conley's not even really a valid third option, to be brutally honest. They need somebody else to step up and take that role, and McDaniel seemed to be that guy. And then he just kind of faded that next game after he had that really good game, and that's what kind of happens because you get that tape as an opposing team, and you're able to kind of work around that and be like, okay, we can eliminate this problem, but what's the other problem will that expose that we're gonna have to squash later? Probably in the middle of the game, if not at halftime. I mean, and you saw kind of that working out live. For the Suns, and it was just too little, too late with some of those adjustments and stuff. But I mean, again, Anthony Edwards is an unstoppable force at this point, and I think that's kind of what the Suns really ran into. So you talk about taking on the Nuggets next. I mean, it would seem like 7 games would make the most sense to me. 6 games is possible. Nuggets in 6 is possible here. I believe that the Timberwolves in their inexperience and maybe, I don't want to say the moment's going to be too big for some of these players, but the Timberwolves give me the impression that they might just not be ready for this moment as much as maybe we're giving them credit for now, and that Phoenix just might be really that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
and I don't
that's
want us
fair.
to get fleeced,
They are.
I mean, so, I mean, I just don't, I mean, if the Nuggets sweep them, I mean, it would be an incredible show of force by Denver if they were able to sweep this team. I think that even if the Nuggets win in 5, it's enough for me to say that there's no way they're not coming out of the West no matter who they're playing. I think that if they win this series in 5, that'll be the bar for me to be like, it doesn't matter who they're playing. They're going back to the finals, and whoever comes out of the East is probably in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the thing, if the Nuggets play like the Nuggets in the playoffs, then it's over. I mean, Jamal Murray is like he's good, but he's not great in the regular season, and then come playoff time, he's like the best point guard in the league. Like, and that I don't know. It's all he's the X factor every series. It's Jamal Murray, and I know that Jokic is the heart and soul of the team, both on offense and defense, especially during that regular season. But they're giving that ball to Jamal Murray when it matters, and that's the difference for me. Is I don't think anyone can guard Jamal Murray.
Yeah, and if Ant can do it, if Ant can shut him down, if it's Ant on Jamal Murray and Anthony Edwards shuts down Jamal Murray, and the Timberwolves end up somehow, some ungodly way coming out of this series,
Yeah,
I mean that team becomes he instantly
maybe
becomes that's a top 5 player in the league. That's a top 5 point. I mean he has to be a top 5 player in the league. Like I'm sorry, like that would do it for
on
me.
Jokic like that. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't convince me that if that happens, that I mean, because the things we are seeing from this young man is, I mean, I I've never,
23,
I mean, yeah,
22.
like people are being like, oh, like it's Michael Jordan. I'm like, no, this is like prime Derrick Rose. I mean, this is like if Derrick
Yeah,
Rose could shoot the ball in his prime. That's what I'm looking at right now. Is a guy that has the hops like Derrick Rose and can
one of
actually
the most
shoot the
athletic
ball. Yeah,
guards you've
and can
ever
actually
seen, with
shoot
the
the
best,
ball.
probably the most athletic shooter I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's I think that's the more accurate comparison than Michael Jordan or Kobe. Like I don't see that. I see Derrick Rose if he had a stroke, like in his prime.
I
Like
see a shorter Tracy McGrady.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I mean, and I think and why? I mean, what comparison made you kind of throw him out there?
Just the ability to score at all 3 levels, um, and the athleticism. I also thought about Vince Carter.
That's another good one because the thing about Ant is he can go cold pretty good from the field, and I feel like Vince had those moments too where he just couldn't find a
Yeah.
shot, but you knew like he could get to the rack whenever he wanted to. But you put 3 guys on him driving in the lane, I mean, you're stopping him for sure. Like I mean, I think you put
Yeah,
3
but
bodies on
also,
Anthony Edwards. I mean, like,
if
I
you're
mean,
attracting 3 bodies, that's also a win in
oh
itself
no,
because
yeah, no,
now you got 2 other guys
yeah, but
open.
like, who
So
did Vince Carter have to kick it out to? Like, come on now.
Tracy McGrady.
For one point, yeah, but I was thinking more Nets Vince Carter, not Toronto Vince Carter. Like what Richard
Yeah,
Jefferson to whip it out
yeah.
to RJ.
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd ain't shooting no damn threes.
Yeah,
He'd pump fake and dish it. But that was his mo. But yeah, I think we're seeing something special here. So that'll be. I hope it's just as entertaining as we think it's gonna be. I would be really disappointed if any of these games were 10+ point wins, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like
I agree with
if
that.
any of the games go over 10+ points in margin, like 6 to 8 of those points got to be on free throws in the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean that's I hope those are the type of games we get. Last one here on the west side, Mavericks Clippers still going on. Got a game tonight to kind of either ice this thing or send this to game 7. What's kind of been your takeaway from Mavs Clippers? It's been kind of hot and cold for me. I mean, a lot of these games have been not very close and very over very early, and then the other ones have been close. So I mean, like it's this has been one of those where the games can go either way. How we feeling right now, Zach?
I'm feeling like whoever shoots the ball above 30% this game is gonna win. I mean, I'm with you. I have no idea. I'm picking the Clippers.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
just because it's so back and forth,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
It would make like there's nothing about this series makes
yeah,
sense, folks. Nothing makes sense about this series. James Harden's like, I'm
yeah,
gonna hit 5 threes and I'm gonna hit like 2 the next game. Like that whole thing's
yeah.
happening again. You have
Like James Harden's probably gonna drop 45 tonight
Yeah,
or
you
something.
have Russell dropping a triple double in like game 1 and then like disappearing the rest of the series, like shooting terribly. You have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving combining for like 80 points one night, and then the next night like they shoot 10% from the floor in the first half and get blown out by 40. Like it's just like I mean, it's just I mean,
Hey, Kyrie is. I'll say this. I saw this stat earlier. Kyrie is 12-0 in closeout games.
hey, get it done. Get it done, I guess. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
change. It doesn't change when the Thunder plays game 1 if Dallas wins tonight, right? It'd still be Tuesday, right?
yeah. I think it's still
Yeah,
Tuesday.
I just think it would just give Dallas more rest time. It'd give them 2 or 3
Yeah, it would give them
days.
a few days.
Yeah, so that's why
Give
we
them a
won a game
weekend.
7.
Yeah, we definitely want a game 7 because game seven's on Monday, I think.
No, it's on Sunday, and then they have
Uh,
1 day of rest before having to be here. And you would preferably like it to be LA because they did have to travel all the way from the West Coast out here. Yeah, but please. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be that. Let's hop over to the Eastern Conference
wait,
here.
real quick.
But yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say this quietly. Am I scared? Am I wrong to be more scared of the Mavericks than the Nuggets?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. I think I
Okay.
could. I mean,
Okay.
and here's why. Here's why. You beat this Mavericks team by 40
No
without even
Luca.
a healthy roster against a
No
fully.
Luca.
And yeah, like no Kyrie either. I mean, neither of them played, and you still won by 20 that other night when you didn't have J Dub
When
or.
Luca when Luca's played, we've lost.
But still you have the series lead, what, 3-1, 3-1,
Yeah.
3. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, I
They
mean,
blew us the fuck out when they were healthy.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I think Gafford also has a.
Matchup though.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I don't think you should be more scared than the Nuggets. I mean, I think the Nuggets would. That might be that might be sweet material depending on how they handle the Timberwolves. But I mean, like, I Thunder might get one. They get one at home, right? Like you can't you like.
We're 3-1 on the Nuggets on the season.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. You have good records against both these teams.
Yeah, the Nuggets were healthy though. Mavs not.
So I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong,
I think our
but I
defense
feel
is
like the
too.
matchup is worse.
We're more of a complete team regardless of who we're playing. I think if we play as a unit, we keep on the path that we're playing at. I think that neither of them will be a problem. When I say not a problem, I'm saying like the series goes 6. Like if we play the Mavs and it goes 6, like I'm happy with that. Cleveland gonna close it out.
Markel Fultz just did a move that if it was Michael Jordan, it'd be called the greatest layup ever. And this is why we're done with the 90s.
I mean, hey, like, I
He went
mean,
like boom, real wide. And I was like, if that was done in like 94, I'd still be
yeah,
seeing of
yeah,
it.
yeah. That'd be the NBA logo instead of this Jerry West, 1956 stuff.
They're gonna change it to LeBron when he retires, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, I feel you
It's
on
gonna be
that.
that look. It's gonna be that look down at the ball 3 move. It's gonna be the NBA logo.
um, all right, Eastern Conference. Let's start at the top here. Celtics Heat. Celtics win the series 4-1. I mean, no Jimmy Butler here. Tyler Hero was healthy, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, Bam was okay. He had some games where Kevin Love was okay. I mean, we knew what was going to happen here without Jimmy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Should have happened in 4.
Oh yeah. Should have probably.
Yeah, it should have happened in 4. I will say, Jaime Jaquez
Good.
kind of showed out.
Good.
And I'm excited for the future for him. But yeah, no Jimmy Butler. There was no chance. There was absolutely no chance. I mean, it was a formality. They probably should have just like just let's just play like 3 games. Like we just made this like a 3-game series.
You don't want to make us do this. Like I feel like like that was
Yeah,
definitely
like,
kind of the vibe.
they were so much better. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The Celtics are so much better than anyone else in the East. So I think just for probably for both of us here, I would imagine it's Celtics in 4 or 5 pretty much every series from here on out, right?
And 6 games against the Knicks.
Okay. Okay.
I give the Knicks. I give the Knicks both their home games
Okay.
to
Fair.
start, and then they lose on their home
Go New
floor
York.
before losing. Oh,
Bing bong.
yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. Um. Yeah. I, I think that was just a show of force for sure. Um. Bucks Pacers. That do anything for you? No Giannis.
Surprised.
Huh?
I really thought the Bucks were gonna we're still gonna win. And then Indy they just came in and just kind of blasted them game 6.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't close. I mean, at all, really. Pacers really ended up kind of just taking advantage of no Giannis, no Lillard for a game. I mean, Bucks kind of fell apart, and it just, I mean, and then, I mean, what do you do with Doc Rivers? You get rid of Doc Rivers? I mean,
No, I don't think you do. I
I
mean,
mean,
he did fine.
yeah, I
Like
mean, but
they were
like,
so
why get rid
injured,
of
you can't
Griffin if
really
this is
give.
the result?
I mean, yeah, probably, but um, with an injured Giannis and like mostly injured Dame, I don't think you can really hold them to this loss.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I mean, and another upside though. I mean, now we get Pacers Knicks for the longest time, and it's gonna be like,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, since the Reggie Miller days, that those teams have matched up in a in a decently looking series.
I don't
So
think they've matched up in a long time.
yeah, it's been a minute. So I'm excited to see those fan bases clash again. Hopefully that'll give me some nostalgia that'll tide me over to living another year on this planet. Yeah, no, I mean, I think like you said, there's no. I don't think considering the circumstances, the Bucks could win the series. I mean, Siakam played great. You had fantastic performances from Halliburton. You had what you needed to get past the Bucks in the position that they were in, and in the end, I think you have to say the Pacers did what they were supposed to do, and I think you have to win that series considering those circumstances if you're Indiana.
Yep. Sorry, they were getting kind of chippy there. I had to look.
um, yeah. So I mean, that's going on there. Yeah, you can go ahead and talk about the Cavs and Magic. I mean, that game's going on right now, Game 6.
Yeah, this has been a terrible series. I don't know how else to put it. Like they're close games. I'll give it
It's
that. But
just
like this
so
is bad
painful to
basketball.
watch. It's
This
so
is
painful
so
to
bad.
watch.
Like I'll say this game hasn't been too. The beginning of this game was terrible. I don't point that out. Like, they were missing everything, and they were just playing terrible basketball. Now it's not so much. Like it's okay right now. They're getting a little chippy. I like it. Um, but either of these teams are getting swept by the Celtics, so it really doesn't matter what happens.
Oh, you think sweep? You think no shot either of these teams get a game? No
With
shot.
how bad they've been playing this series, no, like absolutely no shot. Like Celtics are destroying either of these teams. And then like you said, the Knicks are probably beating the Pacers and 5 probably. And then you get Celtics Knicks. I mean, that's really all we care about, right? Celtics Knicks at this point, because that just seems to be like the inevitable conclusion of this.
Yeah, I I think you're right. I don't know. I mean, the Knicks should win that in five. I think, boy, I think six might be pushing it. I mean, I just like what did the Pacers bring to the table that like that they
They
can?
don't.
I
That's
mean,
the thing.
it's
They
like
got lucky.
yeah,
They got lucky. They
yeah,
beat an injured Bucks team, and it still took them 6 games. I
yeah.
don't know.
I think this is like you said. This is 5 games. It's got to be. I mean, the Pacers take one at home. You know, maybe
They're
it's
just so inconsistent.
it's 2-1 heading into game four, and they lose two in a row. It ends up being 4-1. Get effed. Like I mean, I think that's kind of what you're looking at here. For the Pacers Knicks series. If this is Celtics and Cavs, which is what it looks like right now, at least for the
Yeah.
moment, I don't think Donovan Mitchell can save Cleveland in any way, shape, or form. I mean, Jared Allen's okay. You have some pieces there, but there's just no shot. I mean, the Celtics would literally have to play so terribly in order to even not only drop the series, but I think play more than 6 games in this series. I mean, it's a 5 game series max here. There's no shot. Um, the, yeah, so I mean, I think like you said, we're on a fast track to Knicks Celtics, and then we'll just kind of see if Jalen Brunson can put together some magic, and if Josh Hart and DiVincenzo can hit their threes, and if Hartenstein can box out and D up Porzingis. We'll see if the Knicks can even push this thing to 6, But I think that the
Yeah.
Celtics are just kind of gonna waltz their way into the finals out of this bracket, and the real question just comes down to the West is what kind of Timberwolves team are we going to see? How good are the Thunder going to look, whether it's versus the Mavericks or the Clippers? And that kind of determines kind of where the West goes, where the East kind of seems like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost feeling like we're just gonna get a Nuggets Celtics collision course, you know? Um, although ESPN has the most likely matchup being the Thunder and Celtics, which I find interesting. Um,
Now, here's my question to you,
we haven't really necessarily talked about a hypothetical Thunder Timberwolves conference finals.
which I think would be
That would go
massively entertaining.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
small markets versus
SGA
small
isn't a
market,
talker. I mean, he's like Tim Duncan
and
out
having
there.
his cousin across from him too. That's
Yeah.
another
He's gonna
storyline.
lock him up.
Oh, I mean, that's gonna be a problem. I mean,
Yeah. But Lou Dort's gonna lock up Anthony Edwards. I mean, it's gonna be here's I do kind of want to touch on it for a second because I think it comes down to J Dub and Chet 100% just kind of down low against Cat and against Rudy Gobert, which they lose that size battle, but they win that quickness battle and they win the shooting battle there too. I think I need J Dub to give me 25 a night in that series probably.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
I would believe
'Cause
that.
I think SGA is gonna be giving us, like, 26, 27, probably most of that series just because, his cousin's really familiar with him. He's probably, like, easier for him to guard him than most people. And then, like, Jaden McDaniels is gonna be guarding him too. Um, it's a defensive game. Like, we have since the playoffs have started, the Thunder have the number 1 defense. Um, I think the Timberwolves have the number 2. So, I mean, it's a collision course of defense, and I think these games are going to be some games where both teams score under 100. And I would pick Thunder in 7.
Yeah, I think home court's probably the deciding factor. I think you're probably right on that. I mean, because that
And
is
we're
a,
gonna have to
I
sneak
mean,
our way into that game 7.
yeah, I mean, and like you said, that's a hypothetical. A lot of people aren't willing to explore it with, due to the fact that people think that the Nuggets beating the Timberwolves is a foregone conclusion. But can we kind of rewind here and touch on possible Thunder, Celtics here in the finals? That you're
Mhm.
talking about here because it's giving me, you know, Miami Heat Thunder flashbacks here where you look at the Thunder and you look at the Celtics team, and if they're on the floor against each other, I mean, it's not favoring the Thunder really on any level, really. Um,
Well, I would question that. The Celtics are a much better team, I think. Um, I think the Thunder have split the season series with them. Um, we have the best player on the court. That's kind of how I look at it. We don't have the second best player on the court, arguably we have the third best player on the court, and that's very arguable because that's Jaylen Brown versus Jalen Williams there, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't. Derek White's going to be on SGA, I think, and I think that's barbecue chicken. I think that's like a 40 piece. I think that's a 40
I
piece
think so. I
McDonald's.
think
You
you're having
know?
Tatum switch on that real quick.
Yeah, I mean he better. I mean, but I think SGA's can. I think the matchups don't favor the Celtics there for SGA. Do they favor the rest of the team?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
Kristaps is gonna murder Chet.
yeah.
Um,
It's not gonna be close.
and like Jalen Brown is probably gonna cook J-Dub a little bit, but I can see that going either way. So I don't know. I think
How many games does it go? Does it go more than 5?
in my non-bias view, I feel like it's Celtics in 5. In my non-bias view, I mean, like I just don't think that we're gonna have that kind of fairy tale ending, with this team kind of just now getting their first run at the playoffs. Like I don't think we're gonna have
What
that.
what if
I
what if
think it's
it's the
gonna be more
Knicks?
like a 2011,
What if it's the Knicks?
kind of situation. In 2011, we lost to the Mavericks, right?
Yeah, that was the year they beat the
Western
Heat.
Conference Finals.
Yeah, that was the year the
Yeah,
Mavs beat the Heat. Yeah.
yeah. I think we're probably looking at a situation closer to that, where we lose to a big European center who goes and beats the big team from the East.
What if it's the Knicks though, and not the Celtics?
I mean, I guess we'll have to look at the sky and see if pigs are up there because, like, I just don't think that like, that's not happening, dude.
I mean, I just I look at this,
The Knicks are so bad at shooting. Like
but what
Jalen
if,
Brunson is beating these teams
but
shooting like 38%.
any
Like
team
it's
can
just
get
not going
hot
to work
though.
against the
You can get
Celtics.
hot. You can get hot though.
No, it's just not going to work against the Celtics. Like he's beating these bad, like I don't, they're not bad teams, but like he's beating these
You've
teams with shooting
seen how
under
bad
40%.
you can see how, but you've seen how bad the Celtics can look against teams like the Warriors. Like, remember that, like how bad
Yeah, they
they
look
shot the
terrible.
ball. Like, I mean, we've seen how bad it can get. So I'm saying, like hypothetically, it could get that bad. Is what I'm saying. Like the Celtics could have a spell where they're like, we've had some time off. It didn't really work out really well. We're older, so we got a little stiffer. I mean, it's it could be a thing where like the threes don't start falling and the threes start falling for the Knicks. I mean, next thing you know, we're looking at Knicks going to the finals and not the Celtics. I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not
Well, if
saying
that's
I
the
would
case,
bet
then
on it. I'm just saying if it were the Knicks and it were the Thunder Knicks, would that be a better matchup for the Thunder? Would that give them a higher chance, or do you think that it would still be the Knicks coming out on top, and that there's
Thunder
really
and 5.
what
Thunder and 5.
you think so?
Yeah, like we have like the best defense in the league, and like Jalen Brunson would have to shoot. He's like averaging like 38% in the playoffs, and he'd have to shoot like 50% just to get 30 points on Lou Dort. Like it's just not happening.
You think Lou
I
Dort
don't.
would be guarding Jalen Brunson?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't think?
Who else?
I say SGA. I mean, but I mean,
No, Lou Dort's our best defender. Like
yeah, all right.
you put him on Jalen Brunson. You put SGA on probably
Yeah,
DiVincenzo.
give him a break.
Yeah. I mean he's been guarding shooters a lot more since Lou's kind of been the breakout defender.
Yeah,
You've seen SGA kind of play that helper role a lot more.
J-Dub on Hart, I guess.
Yeah, and that's an interest. That'd be a great, that'd be interesting. And then you got Hardenstein and Chet, which
again a big body dude, which could.
yeah,
I mean, a guy that's like I averaged 6 during the regular season, but against Chet Holmgren, I'm gonna average 12. Like I mean, it's like
yeah, it kind of looked like when Valanciunas like scored like 12
no,
straight.
it's 11. Yeah, first 11 points.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I was like, well, that's not good.
I think Chet's just the kind of guy defensively that he has to play for like a quarter to really understand like their moves and like what they're doing that game, and then he starts getting his really good blocks and he gets better positioning. And but the second that Hardenstein gets a forearm on him, it's over. Gets a shoulder into him, I mean he's on the ground. So it's gonna be a tough series, but I think the Thunder much better than the
Yeah,
Knicks.
plan the parade. All right, heard that.
Yeah, plan the parade, honestly.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the Nuggets Timberwolves series, and then you can plan the parade.
yeah, I mean tomorrow. That starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we will be seated. We will be in contact.
Mhm.
So so that kind of I think that'll wrap it up for. We'll keep you guys updated next week with next week's episode. We'll keep this segment rolling because we're gonna have to because we at least have 4 more games left. So we'll definitely talk about those. NFL draft. We had our show on Thursday. NFL draft. I know you have some things to say about this. Go ahead and give me your piece on your NFL draft. Kind of light recap for us all.
Yeah, I mean, on Twitch, I think we both had a pretty good reaction to that number 8 pick of the Atlanta Falcons to take Michael Penix. Wow, I mean, easily the move of the draft. That
Yeah.
was just like, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand that pick at all. Um, Other than that, offense. It's just offense all over the draft. A couple of you guys get picked, a couple tackles. Um, you know, that's great. Happy for that. Um, our Lord and Savior Cooper DeJean going to the Eagles. You know,
Is that their second white safety they have now? Don't they have that other
in the
guy?
corner.
Oh, he's a corner. Okay, whatever. Defensive
But
back.
but I give it 1 month until he's a safety. Like he's gonna line up against AJ Brown.
Oh, he could get roast. They're gonna be like, oh no, he can't hang. He's got to be in the
You're
back.
gonna have to play some zone.
Yeah,
Play some
yeah,
zone.
like get back there. Get back there. Yeah, no, that's you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
You're probably right about that. I mean, and then
Obviously,
I
heavy
mean, no,
quarterback.
I mean, even Saquon on a wheel route, cooking you. Like Saquon on a wheel route, cooking your ass.
Yeah,
I can't believe he was upset
fucking
about getting
Eagles now.
flack from Knicks fans during that game last night. You really think the Knicks fans are gonna give it to you? Like, come on, dog. I mean, you were there for like 95 years, and now you're in Philly. Like, I mean, like you might as well be Benedict Arnold.
True. I forgot that the Eagles got Saquon.
He's like, I'm having now I'm realizing we're really not in a good spot right now.
Hey, we just signed Zeke though.
Hey, yeah, that's draft repercussions there. Yeah, no, I think the Michael Penix pick was definitely the top kind of highlight. I mean we I mean I'm telling you.
We broke it down pretty well. Like there is just
I mean there
no reason for
it
that.
just I mean and then you have articles coming out, people are like, look, we can justify this, it's really not that bad. I'm like, really not that bad? My man, you literally, like, no cap, like signed a guy to like a huge
The-
deal. Like, I
It
mean,
was the
what?
move of the offseason was
Yeah,
to
like,
sign a quarterback to a huge deal to
yeah,
be not necessarily a long term, but like 6, 7 years guy, probably.
yeah. I mean, that's that's what I mean. That was just wild to me. I don't understand it. Caleb Williams goes number 1. I think we kind
Yeah.
of, I think that was probably the most obvious thing in the world. Um, not really much else to say about that. Yeah, number 2, not really a surprise.
Yeah.
You have Jaden Daniels go to the Commanders. A lot of people thought Drake May might go there, and we'd have 2 North Carolina quarterbacks with Howell and him on the same roster. Um, didn't happen. Drake May goes number 3 to the Patriots. I'm not upset about it. I think it's
Yeah.
I think you could not have done worse than what there's not a worse quarterback on the roster that I would rather have than him. I don't think he's the answer, but I don't think there's better ones on the roster. Is what I'm trying to say. I
But you
think
want to go next.
I did. I think a steal. They got a steal, and my boy Bo, and then he gets to bring his friend Troy with him. I think that was great too. So a connection right off the bat. That'll help practice. That'll help acclimate him. They'll lean on each other. I think that's a great thing for them. So congrats to him. I don't. Oops. So so yeah, that kind of sums up kind of how I feel about that. Um,
I already forgot who the Cowboys took.
they took the tackle, right? They took the big boy. Um,
Oh yeah. I forgot they took my boy.
yeah.
I was
So
just so distracted by the fact that my team's so bad that and just is makes the dumbest moves I think probably ever witnessed. Um, I would probably consider we might need to do some sort of test on Jerry Jones. He might be geriatric. Um, Possibly has dementia. I don't want to say I'm calling him Sleepy Jerry from now on, probably. Um, what the fuck is he doing? Like,
yeah, what
like
what is he?
I like the tackle pick. That's fine. Like Tate Guyton out of there. Like that's great. Like the
Yeah,
pick. There at 29. You traded down. Fine. Great pick. I don't hate it. We needed a little bit on the O line side. Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? What's the number one position you think the Cowboys should have drafted?
ooh, I mean, halfback. That was the
Right.
thing. I was thinking
Right.
Jonathan Brooks for
Right.
sure.
And if you asked a sixth grade football coach that question, they'd probably say the same thing, right? You take a halfback in the draft. But no, we don't do that here, right? We sign Zeke.
I
We
mean,
sign Zeke. And then it's okay because Zeke, he doesn't have to be great. We have Deuce Vaughn. We got
ooh,
Deuce
that's right.
Vaughn.
That's
It's fine. He's
right.
5'5". Oh God, our run game is gonna be so bad. That's gonna have to throw for 6,000 yards. Like,
You don't want that either.
no, I
That's not
don't.
a,
That's 40
that
picks.
means he's throwing 30 interceptions.
Yeah, like, and what sucks is that they're gonna win 11 games.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just like,
they'll make the playoffs. Yeah,
yeah, they're gonna be stuck.
yeah, that's a thing. Well, I've got our reaction here to the pick, so let me pull it up here for y'all, and you can listen to just how this kind of went down. Um, as we kind of peruse into the minds of how we felt. There it is.
Junior.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God, no.
Michael Penix Jr. goes to the
Wow.
Falcons. They just got
Wow.
Kirk Cousins. What are they doing?
Wow.
What are they doing? What the fuck?
Wow. A stunner.
That can't be real. This can't be
A
real. That
stunner.
can't. That's not real.
It's got to be for a trade for later, right?
Why wouldn't they just trade the pick? No, that
That is a stunner. There it is. There was the authentic reaction to Michael Penix being drafted. The next line I said was, "What the fuck is happening in Atlanta?" Yeah, I mean it's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. I don't understand it. But that was kind of um, the big talk here. A couple things to close us out here, Zach. I wanted to talk a little bit about NBA free agency. Kind of
Mhm.
touched on this earlier um, when we were messaging back and forth today, but NBA free agents coming up. Klay Thompson on the list. Um, You have Giannis possibly on the list here of people that are going to be searching for a home. Kevin Durant searching for a home, probably via trade, not really a free agent type of thing. Um, but I wanted to talk about kind of the Thunder, like specifically, and kind of where they're at with the fact that they've got $50+ million in cap space. They've got a gajillion draft picks, and they have some second unit assets that could be moved if they wanted to bring somebody in. I'm gonna throw a name out to you that I haven't mentioned yet, and I want to get your reaction to your thoughts on them being added to this roster with minimal changes, and that would be Buddy Hield, who will be a free agent. You do not want Buddy Hield.
And I love him. I love Buddy. Boomer Sooner. Please don't come ruin my time. He's not consistent enough. Like he's just not a consistent enough shooter for us to be paying him what he's probably going to be asking for. I don't want to pay him 18 million or whatever. He's probably getting more than that. I don't even want to talk about it yet, but I have my eye on Nick Claxton. Thunder are the favorite to get him. He's definitely not going back to the Nets. He's exactly what we need. Lockdown 5-man who can grab boards and at a high rate. I'm imagining Presley's going to throw the book at him.
Someone was saying Nas Reed because he seems like a Presty guy.
He's not a free agent until next season.
Maybe that's what they meant.
I need to have a player option.
Yeah. So
Alan Tunis is a free agent.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind bringing Jonas in.
Hartenstein's a free agent.
I don't want him. He's too ass offensively. I can't have that. Would you want Hartenstein over Valanciunas? I wouldn't.
He's younger, so yeah.
I mean,
I'd probably take him.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the list of free agents right now, and I'm like,
not very attractive.
I'd want to go get Malik Monk.
That would be a good get.
That'd be a great get if we could get him. But my number one pick is Claxton. That's the first guy I'm going after. In free agency at least. Now the trade market, I'm going after Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I mean, like he wants to come back. I think. It made sense. We have the assets. Suns, you want 7 first? Here you go. Like we have 18 more, so whatever.
And you would assume that all of those picks that you're giving them would be low 20s, right?
You would assume
by that time they'd use them.
There's a chance that like the last couple, like maybe the last 2 picks there could be like 2028, 29. We might be bad then. I don't know. I would hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say my eye is 100% on Nick Claxton, and then I would say Malik Monk would be a great get, and then trade market Kevin Durant, Giannis.
Yeah,
I think you gotta go get someone big in the trade market. And while I'm throwing those big names out there, there are other big names that I think we could get too, and like Lauri Markkanen. We could always go still get him.
Bam.
Yeah, I like Bam.
I don't know how thrilled I would be, but I feel like that'd be. I mean, let's bring Sabonis back. Maybe we would actually use him properly this time instead of letting him just jack threes.
You would get a lot of boards. I don't know if you'd fit.
I mean that's a valid question. I was thinking boards is why I brought him up.
5. I don't know if he'd play the 5 or if Chet would.
Go for Jared Allen.
Because if we get Nick Claxton, Nick Claxton's definitely playing the 5.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. What about Jared Allen?
Is he available?
I don't think he's a free agent, but I mean, like.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not a free agent, but yeah, we could move some stuff around, trade.
I mean, would you like that though? Would that be a solid get? I mean, if you tried and couldn't get the other options, I mean,
if we couldn't get Nick Claxton,
yeah,
I would rather get someone else in free agency instead of trade, because I don't want to trade any assets,
Yeah, I
especially if
mean,
it
yeah,
messes up the
yeah.
chemistry. So like, like taking a guy away is a lot different than adding a guy in chemistry wise. And I think while Jared Allen would probably be my first pick skill wise outside of Nick Claxton, and like I think he would be the best fit, I would rather sign
Nick Claxton.
Hartenstein
Oh,
than
then try
or
to trade.
yeah, but like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we
yeah,
couldn't get Nick
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Claxton,
yeah. You'd rather sign
I
Hartenstein
would
than
rather sign.
trade for
Yeah.
Jared Allen. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I that like based on that justification, yeah, I think that's definitely the better move. Yeah, Nick Claxton got to be the guy that Presti's looking at. I imagine you're correct about him eyeballing him for sure. Um, do you want to talk about some college football here before we skeetle on out of here?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what did what
And
what did you want to specifically kind of touch on here? Because I know that we have some conversations happening with some portal guys signing for your defensive line for the Sooners. You have my Ducks gelling and having a good spring game and looking crisp, and Dylan looked good. Yeah, go ahead and just kind of give me what you want to speak your mind on.
one OU recruitment. D line's going to be amazing.
Nasty, nasty. It's getting
Yeah,
nasty for us.
Ethan Downs returning, David Stone coming in, and now Dominic Williams coming in. It's over. Wait, I think we have the best defensive line in the country, and I know that people want to say Georgia. I wouldn't necessarily argue that, but OU is at least a close second because I just don't think that we have so much talent coming in that I don't understand. I don't know how you couldn't think that this is the best defensive line in the country. Now the real question is the offensive line.
Who would be the third best defensive line in the SEC behind you for Georgia? Oh, you think so? I was gonna say Missouri.
Oh, fuck you. I mean,
They
they got one guy.
only got two, right? They got don't didn't I mean not from you, but like they picked up another guy, another D
I
lineman.
don't know. I know they got Nirwani.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the one that they got from you anyway. But I mean, like I
Yeah.
think you replaced him with something that you needed more size. I
They got
think.
a what's his name? I already forgot it. Green.
Oh, that's what it was.
Old
Yeah,
Green one.
that was the other one. Um, but I think he's O line, right?
I, yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
O line. I would think and that hurt. I'll
yeah.
give him
Oh
that.
yeah, oh
But
yeah.
I'll give uh I'll give Missouri a little bit of credit. They're probably, in my opinion, fourth best.
So Texas third, and then probably the.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No. I think they're the fifth best. I
Okay,
think
okay.
Alabama's still
Alabama.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, I don't know why we're forgetting about them.
Yeah, like
But
I
yeah,
mean, they don't have Nick Saban anymore, but they still have a lot of talent, and they
yeah.
do have a national championship game coach.
Yeah, so it's not going
Yeah, we're
terribly
not in a
down there.
bad
Yeah,
situation.
no, looking like a rebuilding year.
Yeah,
Uh,
eleven wins and
what
a
were you saying
playoff
before
loss.
before I cut you off? What were you saying? You were saying the defensive line looks good, but you were saying they needed some help on the O line, and they needed what
Yeah,
else?
need some help on the O line, but we got some guys returning, but none of them are like fantastic. So I'm hoping that Coach B, Bill Biddenhall, can that kind of like get some development going. I don't know what the guys that are coming in look like. I know that they look good from a recruitment standpoint, but it's hard to tell how good they're really going to be. I thought Gavin was going to be like the best receiver in the country when I saw his recruitment. So I don't know. I think we have probably some of the. I would argue we have the best receiver room in the SEC, possibly the country. Just with like we got Deion Burks out of Purdue, have Andrew back, Jalil Farouk's coming back. I mean, we got weapons, a lot of weapons. The running back room questionable. We got Hits coming in, and I think he's going to be fine. But other than that, no guys that are really like shining. I think Gavin Freeman was kind of our backup option there, and he's gone. So probably too early season prediction. I'm predicting 11 wins,
Hmm.
but um, probably a loss to. mm, we're having an 11-win season. If it's going to be Red River rivalry. I think the Red River rivalry has a chance to be game of the year. I really think that OU is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Going into this season, they think that we lost D. A lot of people think because they don't really watch football, right? A lot of people think that because we lost DG that we're in a worse situation. And quarterback wise, yeah, I guess. But Jackson Arnold's good. Like it's not like we have a bad quarterback.
Yeah, it's not
And
like you're trotting out Alan Bowman out there like to try to
yeah,
save the Sooners. I mean, like you
I will
you
say,
didn't have to call Sam Hartman to see if he wanted to stay one more year. You know.
yeah, and I will say I didn't love the Jackson Arnold spring game. He looked really good, like deep balls and everything, but he was
Yeah.
kind of swinging it a little too recklessly for me. I mean, he
But
threw like 50% on the
do you
dot.
do you think it was because he was just trying to like have fun with it?
I could see it.
Because
I don't want to. I
I
don't want to
don't.
think. I don't want to overthink spring game
That's what I'm
stats. Is
saying. I
like,
don't want to like analyze it and be like, boy, this was troublesome. Like the thing for me for you guys is the turnovers, right? You saw kind of
yeah,
that rear its ugly head in the bowl game, and it was kind of like, is that going to be something that continues? Is that going to be an issue that we come up with? Like, oh, he's really good, but like he's throwing 3 picks a game. Like we gotta be that. That's a problem. Like I
it
mean,
could be an issue. Like
what?
I really do think. I really do think it's going to be an issue. I think, especially earlier in the season,
I
couple
mean, because you
and
can eat a couple of those against those bad teams because it's like you just have so much of a talent gap. It's like you could probably turn the ball over 6 times in some of those games and still eke out a win on a last second field goal, make it ugly. But I mean, like you don't usually lose those games, you know. It's where you get into the first couple conference games that were gonna be the ones where you're like, you can't do this now. Like we can't. We have to clean it up. We got to think 2 turnovers max. Like like I mean that's
yeah,
and
I think
sometimes,
the
yeah.
I think the defense is going to make up for a lot of that. Um, but 2 turnovers max. I think you're right against those better teams. Right, like he can't come out and throw 3 picks against Texas.
Mm-mm.
Like that's not going to work. He can't go out and throw 3 picks against Alabama. Like
I mean, even
that's not going
Auburn.
to work. Even Auburn, yeah, like yeah, you can't afford to make those mistakes unless the defense just plays amazing. Now, I do think that there are quarterbacks that have thrown picks at a high rate and had really good defenses. Not probably the best example, but yeah, I look at
Who?
um, Jameis Winston.
Oh, okay.
While he had a Heisman season, obviously, like he was amazing. He was kind of reckless with the ball, and that Florida State defense was amazing. So I still think even if he is a little bit reckless with the ball, we can still find a way to win games unless the defense falls apart. So I think if he throws 1 pick every single game, we're okay. If he throws 2 picks every single game, I can still see us being okay. I wouldn't like it, but I think he could probably make up for it with his arm strength and his deep ball accuracy.
Yeah, and it also kind of matters like when they happen too. Like if you're throwing like 2 picks in the first quarter, but like being clean the rest of the game, like that's fine. But if you're throwing picks like, you're going to take the lead late and you're throwing them, then, I mean I think that becomes more of a bigger issue. But I think that,
Yeah.
like you said, the defense might be able to cover some of those up. Um,
But
it,
think about the receiver room,
yeah, I
right?
mean,
Because
yeah.
you have Dion Burks on one side, and is he the one? Is he the two? But he's on one side on the outside, and Andrew Anthony's on the other side, and both of those guys have burners. We saw, the glimpses we saw of Andrew Anthony, especially when we were there last season, the season opener. He looked amazing, and he looked amazing all year until he got hurt. So we're gonna have 2 guys that are beating most corners every game. Um, and I think that that's going to favor Jackson Arnold because he's going to get to throw it deep more and not have to make as many of those quick decisions, throwing like to the slot receiver. That brings up the issue of the O line though that we talked about earlier. And I don't know if he can hold the
Yeah.
ball that long. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
maybe a lot of posts, maybe a lot of 10-yard posts, a lot of 15-yard posts to try to give him more opportunity to get that ball out a little quicker. You won't see go routes a lot. You'll just see deep button hooks. You'll see deep comeback routes. You'll see deep posts. Um, I think you also have to talk about the fact that the tight end room is not very bad either. I mean, you're talking about receiving
Yeah.
tight ends all over the place. That opens up the middle of the field. You have Petway, who's also really good on the outside, who's got some speed. You almost forget that you've got Gibson, on the
Yeah.
outside as well, that has some hands. I mean, you could be
They're gonna get
correct
some guys.
saying, I mean, you've got one of the top receiving cores in the country. I mean, I think that if they perform the way they can and that we've seen in the past, I think you do. But I think a lot of that hinges on, can Jackson Arnold get the ball to them in favorable positions? Is this going to be something that's going to be a seamless transition that seemed to get off to a bumpy start in the bowl game? Is he able to take some of these learning experiences in these first couple non-conference games and grow some confidence? I mean, a lot of these things are going to be answered sooner than later, but I think these are the questions that you kind of have to line yourself up for to try to get answers for if you're.
Yeah, I'm worried because I think this team can be really good, but the kind of spots I have questions about are kind of the three most important spots. And like outside of the defense, the O line, the QB room, and then the halfback room. And I'm like, I don't feel super confident in any of those. I'm probably most confident in Jackson Arnold, but like if we don't have a good O line and we don't have a good run game, then that kind of destroys the whole offense. So I'm not too worried about it because I think, we're still better than most teams in those situations, in those rooms, but, I mean yeah, I mean, you know how it is for me and pretty much every OU fan, it's natty or bust. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think playoff or bust is a good mindset to have.
mm,
I
not
mean,
anymore 'cause, I mean, we lost, like, 4 in a row, so from the
I mean,
playoffs.
yeah, but I'm saying with this group. I mean, I think that's probably what you're looking at. I mean,
I
I
feel
don't.
like I feel like top 12, or I guess top 11, because you have to be AP top 11 pretty much, or
Yeah.
CFP top 11,
Mhm.
and then the group of 5 team gets in. We should be top 11.
Yeah. So
Because we're an SEC team now, so
yeah,
we can win like 9 games and
it'd
still
still
be
be
number
eight.
10.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
eight. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. Do you think that? Boy, um, here's a question for you, and this might be kind of off the wall. This is a good ender. Um, College football playoff bedlam. Your thoughts?
I'd have to buy a ticket
Yeah, yeah. Like, there goes my bank
because,
account.
I don't think they wanna see us next year.
No.
Um, they listen, the Cowboys got the better of us last season, and I don't know how, but it happened. And, they're gonna be worse this season. I don't see them making the playoffs.
Really?
That's a lie. I was
They-
thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. They should win the Big 12, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. So the
The
thought
Big
of
12 kinda trash unless Utah beats
that,
them, so
that's what I'm saying. Like the thought of that being a possibility is a lot bigger than the.
and that might be a possibility because if they win the Big 12, the likelihood is that OU's probably in that lower
That's
side
what
of the playoff
I'm
bracket because they're
saying.
not gonna win the
Yeah,
SEC.
yeah.
Um, and they're probably won't e it'll probably be the 3rd SEC team in there if I had to guess, so
It's
could
happening.
happen. I see us probably playing, like, number 2 in the playoffs, so
Yeah,
we're
I mean,
probably, like, 11.
yeah, I mean, I, I think really the shortcoming would probably be on OSU's side of the ball there. I think Utah could get them. I think even people are hoisting up. Golly, why is this escaping me? Kansas State. I mean, Kansas State's also a team that could very much win the Big 12. It's just that bad.
And they always can, though. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I mean, like in reality, I
I
mean, top three team probably for sure.
there are a lot of teams in the Big 12 that can make a run. I think it's gonna be the most fun conference to
Oh
watch.
yeah, for sure, for
Big 12
sure.
can be fun. It's gonna be 60 to 60.
Oh, defense. What's that?
Like
Um,
the only team in the Big 12 that was starting to develop good defense, both of them left.
yeah,
So,
literally.
yeah.
So tough. Yeah, offense only conference. Hey, I'm here
Yeah, I
for it.
mean, it's that's
Bet
'cause
the overs.
Colorado's probably gonna win the Big 12 next season, like, who knows?
Yeah, bet the over. But yeah. So anything else to say before we get out of here? Get ready for this Mavs Clippers games. Looks like the Magic are gonna force Game 7 here. So congrats to Game 7 happening out in Cleveland.
I haven't seen. I haven't looked at the score.
It's like 96-91, I think, with like a minute to go. 90,
Yeah, this is still a very close
98-93.
game.
98-93.
This is still a very, very close game.
I mean, it could, Cleveland could shoot 2 threes here and make them both and not even have to foul and win. So, I mean, whatever. But anything else you want to say before we get out of here? I guess I might have jinxed the Magic. I don't know.
No. Shadur Sanders is not going number 1, so anyone saying that, get that out of your heads. That's all I have to say about that.
Literally. All right. Well, I will catch you next week, and we'll have Game 1 and possibly Game 2 under the wings of our Oklahoma City Thunder when we meet next. So, for episode 63, Zach, we'll see you next time.